Welcome to Lock It Down Sports. I'm Locke Hoover. You can follow me over at X at Lock It Up Media. That's Lock It Up Media over at X. You can also check us out at E5280 Sports. That's E5280 Sports. And today on Lock It Down Sports, the Braves are out on this starting pitcher. How much of a problem has Kirk Cousins been in Atlanta this year? And Super Bowl matchups. And we're going to hit the Super Bowl two different ways today. And the first one is where we're going to start. And obviously, he's got Kansas City and Philly. I already told you my excitement level in last week's podcast of it, Yay. That's my excitement level of seeing these two teams again. Obviously, Philly, we saw two years ago, completely different team, obviously, with Barkley, which we're going to get into. And then Kansas City going for 3-peat, which is cool. I just, history. So that part's cool. But that's the excitement level I have. But off the jump, interesting numbers here. Has Philly has a high-ranked offense at 8, the number 1 overall defense, and a better rushing attack at number 2. And I think that's where this all is going to start. And that's going to be ball control and time of possession with the Eagles running the football with Barkley. And I think that's going to be important. Run the ball, keeping Patrick Mahomes off the field, trying to limit his touches in this game. Now, 10 of the 12 games Kansas City has lost, going back to 2022, so the start of their potential three-peat. 10 of the 12 games they lost the time of possession. Now, like I've said this multiple times, I'm not a big time of possession guy because you can have an explosive play, especially in college. I guess NFL's a little bit different. But to me, there's something to that, playing a little bit of keep away from Patrick Mahomes, keeping his hands off the football. And they've lost 10 of the 12 games that they've lost. They lost the time of possession as well. So interesting enough too. So this number's back from last year, 2023 when they won it. So they had 9.8 drives per game, which was the 4th lowest in the NFL. This was last year. Last year, so they were 9th in scoring a touchdown with 42.2% of the time they scored. That's their scoring percentage, which was 9th in scoring percentage. They were 11th in touchdowns with 22.3% of the time. That was last year's run. So how did that compare to with? So they also averaged 0.273 points per play. So this year, you ask, Kansas City is averaging basically a little bit, almost the exact same per drive as they're averaging 10 drives per game. And of those 10 drives, they scored 44% of their drives. Points per play this year. So it's up compared to last year as their points per play this year is 0.318. That's compared to Philly's points per play of 2.97 points per play. And to me, this Kansas City team is a better team this year than they were last year. I think that there's no question about it. They were okay last year. And then obviously they turned on the playoffs, and of course they won it all, obviously. But they're a lot better team this year. They can spread the ball out a little bit more. There's more confidence in their receivers. Of course, they still got Travis Kelce. And yes, they've got one of the greatest quarterbacks ever in Patrick Mahomes already. So I think based on all this, like I said, I think it's going to be very. You're going to have to maximize your possessions, especially if you're Philly. Control the ball and capitalize. Try to keep Patrick Mahomes in that offense off the field, which obviously Kansas City is used to being kept off the field, having some of the lowest amount of drives per game, but they maximize their drives and they score. So that's going to be a big key of trying to limit them. And I think Kansas City's going to win. They're 1.5 point favorite. But I think that's going to be the biggest key in this game to kind of watch to see what they can do offensively, how the Eagles are going to run the football, how they're going to run the football, and they can control the clock and limit Patrick Mahomes. So here we go. It's on Sunday. Kick back and enjoy it. Enjoy having fun at your Super Bowl parties. Your prop bets, which we'll get into a little bit later. Hit your parlays. Good luck, all you gambling on the Super Bowl. I hope you make all your money. Now, speaking of money, the price was too rich for the Atlanta Braves to try to get Dylan Cease. Now, it's been reported. No names have come out yet. I would like to, hopefully, middle of the season, the names might come out about what they are, what they were looking for, what they were wanting in the Dylan Cease, or maybe next year if he ends up not being traded potentially at the deadline. You never know. He might not be traded. But the talk was the Padres wanted Major League Baseball players, as in Major League ready type players. And I get it. It's Dylan Cease. On the Braves end too, it's tough not being able to pull in a Dylan Cease because you would feel great as him being your game one starter in the postseason. He definitely started postseason game for you if he's healthy, of course. I mean, you'd be fine him being your game one starter if that's how it shook out down the line and you needed Strider and Sale to go out and pitch those last final days to win the division or get you a wild card. It's like, all right, well, we got Dylan Cease game one. All right, here we go. You feel good about that. You'd feel okay. I'd feel okay about it. As your and then he'd be your top 3 starter behind Sale, Strider, Cease, Ronald Lopez, Spencer Schwellenbach. You feel good about it. You're in a win now mode. Like I've told you, you need a starting pitcher. I've been mentioning more back end inning eaters guys. This guy's an inning eater and he's a stud. Goes out and wins and eats innings. But that's in a win now team where you're trying to win a World Series. That's where the good ends. And he's a good pitcher. But here's some of the issues with that. He's got 1 year before he becomes a free agent. Scott Boras is his agent, and every Boras client basically takes them to free agency. They don't sign extensions on their walk year. They just don't. And we've seen that time and time again with all of his clients. So the likelihood of him signing extension was slim to none. So there's that. So you're getting it for 1 year. Like I said, Padres are looking for major league ready or major league type players. So say they ask for Spencer Schwellenbach plus an AJ Smith-Salver, Herschel Waldrop, and then let's say Jared Kelenic. That's way too much right there, without a doubt. Schwellenbach could be Dylan Cease. I mean, what we saw of him this year, only scratching the surface, I think, of his potential and his upside. Because it's like the hockey stick pointing up. That's Spencer Schwellenbach all the way of his upside, his potential, what you've seen, what we saw. And he's only getting better too. I mean, he went out there and learned to pitch this year. He already had 4. Let me try something, and boom. Only gonna get better. Is he where Dylan Cease is right now? No, because of the innings. I mean, you can write down 175 plus for Dylan Cease, and it's a wrap. Schwellenbach, rookie, never pitched. This is the most innings he's ever pitched in his life. AJ Smith-Sauver, love the upside. You love the potential. You love the arm. If he figures a thing or two out, he's there. Same thing with Herschel Waldrop. Can be just like Dylan Cease. His movement, his pitches, that splitter, dynamic. But you gotta be able to locate the fastball better and that slider, so then they can't just send the fastball. I mean, he found that out in his first few starts in the big leagues when he got called up. So you saw he's not ready, which is okay. He just got drafted last year out of Florida. It's okay. And then Jordan Kelenic, 4th outfielder where the Braves set up, was still maybe some potential. So, I mean, if they said Spencer Schwellenbach, I would have hung up the phone immediately like, well, good talk. Bye. Thanks, Padres. Okay, let's shift it to this. To me, this is still almost too much. If it was Smith-Sauver, Waldrop, prospect who they like, and a Drew Hockenberg, looking in the middle of the rotation guy, and Jared Kelenic. To me, that's still too much. It would be a little bit easier to part ways with say that deal if you knew he was going to sign a 4 or 5 year extension. That would almost be, okay, we've got these. This is the trade in principle. All right, now Cease, are you going to sign an extension? Nope, you're not going to sign an extension. Okay, Padres, we can't do this for a 1 year deal. I think that's something like that. Now, let's just say it was a Bryce Elder, a AJ Smith-Sauver, or Waldrop, and a prospect or two. That still seems like a lot to me for only a 1 year deal. Obviously, if it's that third option I just laid out, and he signed a deal and he was willing to sign an extension, sign me up, right? But it sounds like, and I get it, Padres in a good spot. They've got a good club this year. And they know Cease is going to free agency. They're trying to capitalize on him, but also we can still win this. We can win this World Series right now with this team that we've got. We feel good about that. Why are we going to give Cease away for free? I get it. But yeah, it's just way too much for the Braves to part way with. And in win now mode with where they're out and their prospects and how they are able to filter guys up 1 or 2 a year. They're just not in the spot to do that with the kind of guys the Padres are asking for. Now, Kirk Cousins, I don't know if you saw this. He's been nothing but a disaster so far in Atlanta. As I don't know if you saw this, he came out on Good Morning Football this week and said he was hurt after the Denver game and was playing with a hurt shoulder and elbow against the New Orleans Saints. And that's right when the Falcons went on their slide, the 4-game losing streak, and pretty much killed any playoff chances they had as they win one of those games. One. They're in the postseason. And I mean, it's clear though. It's clear Cousins cost the Falcons a playoff spot. How are they done in the playoffs? Probably not advanced, but it's not like if you made the play, you got a chance if you're in the tourney, right? And it's not like if they made the playoffs, it really would have affected their draft position much because they're in a tough spot right now, 7-9, 8-8 type territory, maybe 9-7. We missed the playoffs, whatever. That's where they've been the last 4 or 5 years, which is the worst spot to be. And so it cost them a playoff spot, absolutely, no doubt. Now, my other question is, did the staff know how injured he was? I mean, I feel like they had to have known, right? They absolutely had to have known, seen him in practice, and then the games of what took place and how banged up the shoulder was. I wonder, I don't know. Maybe it's what? He's a longtime NFL starting veteran quarterback. We're going to let him work through it. Yeah, he's a little nicked up. He's told us it's a little banged up, but maybe not that bad, right? So he's a little nicked up. Let's let him work through it. See how it goes. Check out the shoulder, that sort of thing. He's a grinder. He's a battler. He don't want to come out. That's fine. We get it. But after those 2 games, you got to pull him, right? I mean, you saw the disaster game, the 4 interception game, the turnovers. You're like, what's going on here, right? I feel like them keeping him in, it's almost like it just kept snowballing and snowballing and snowballing. Well, you know what? He's going to work through this. He's going to get better. He's going to be able to find a way to help this football team, right, on the field. Now, if they did not think this was even a big issue, if they did this, they think that it's tricky. I mean, if the Falcons did not know that he was hurt, I think that's an even bigger issue in how incompetent this coaching staff and front office is, which I wouldn't put it past them. It's the Falcons. It's a bad run organization. And it's my organization, which is tough. Bad run, terribly run. But if they didn't know, how incompetent is the staff? Coaching staff, Raheem Morris, Fontenot. It makes you wonder. Now, maybe for Kirk Cousins not to mention it to the staff, I believe he was afraid of losing his job to Peanuts. I think that was some of it. He didn't want to get Wally pipped. And as they say, you can never lose your job to injury. Well, we've seen it time and time again. You can lose your job to injury. We know. I get it. Why else would he not say anything, I mean, I think Cousins, he wanted to be the starter, and I get it. And he thought this might end his starting chances in the NFL if he mentioned that, I don't know. Penix plays pretty well. Oh, well, we just drafted this first-round kid. Let him continue to develop with our guys, And I think that can be some of it. He saw, this is my only chance. This is my last, probably my last contract. Especially my last contract to be a starter. I don't think the money was anything really, because pretty much all his money's guaranteed. Well done for him and his agent to the amount of money he's made for being such an average quarterback. Well done on his agent front, without a doubt. Now for the Falcons, hopefully this won't affect them when it comes to losing draft pick compensation. We're not reporting him on the injury report, but how can they report him on the injury report if Kirk Cousins doesn't tell him, and he himself doesn't report that he's injured? How's that on the Falcons, right? Now, I don't know all the legal formalities when it comes in the NFL when it comes to including him on the injury report. I mean, it's almost like they at least should have shoulder or arm or elbow, whatever you want to label it, put him as questionable, but he still plays, just put it on the report just to cover yourself, But hopefully this doesn't cost the Falcons picks on the back end. I mean, he already ran his mouth once, said, "Oh yeah, the Falcons tampered with me." So they lost a draft pick in last year's draft because of that. Thank you, Kirk Cousins. Because if you would have kept quiet, it would have been fine. But no, wants to go talk, run his mouth, and hurt your team, your team. Hopefully, it doesn't affect them on the back end with draft picks in the upcoming draft. Oh, Kirk Cousins, what a problem it's been in Atlanta thus far. And then it's, what are you going to do with them? Right now, you trade them, but if you trade them, you're going to have so much dead money, you're going to be costing them more to trade than you actually play for them. Excuse me. I don't have a nice cough button. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. But yeah, so Cousins and the Falcons are in a good spot to get into money. Doesn't matter. The Falcons, you can't go back to him. Penix is your guy. You started Penix. He's your first round draft pick. He's your future. Do you want to pay Kirk Cousins that roster bonus for a 5th round draft pick? Just to get him off the books? Do you cut him? I mean, there's not a lot of good options. I think they keep him next year, going into next year, and then see what happens after that. Because technically, it's a 2-year contract. The Falcons, it's a 4-year contract, but the Falcons could get out after 2 if they wanted to. So wait and see. I wouldn't expect to see anything being moved this draft, but once again, it's the Falcons, and it's the Falcons. Now, I started the Super Bowl, and I'm going to end with the Super Bowl. Some fun stuff for this Super Bowl. As the over-under in points is 48.5 total points. So 48.5 total points is the over-under. Pretty good number. Philly averages 27.2 per game. Kansas City 22.6 per game. It's a good line. It's a really good line. I'd stay away from that one. I'd be a little bit nervous. The over-under of the points. But here's one I really do like. And for minus 120, it's a Jalen Hurts touchdown anytime. This has to be a no-brainer, right? If he doesn't score, they're in trouble. Touchdown pass, the push. I mean, that seems like money in the bank. Jalen Hurts touchdown. Now, also, I like this one too from Jalen Hurts. 39.5 rushing yards, minus 135. Seems very doable to me. I mean, he's not a rusher. I mean, he can rush. He's not looking to rush, but he can take off. I mean, a few runs of 8 to 10 yards, 12 yards, some pushes. 35 yards seems very doable. I think this one is a really low number. Pacheco over 20.5 rushing yards at minus 110. I love that number. I mean, why not? That seems like a very, very winnable number and doable number. And I'm not even gambling. I'm thinking about doing that. I mean, some of these for sure. The Hurts touchdown anytime. Pacheco 20.5 rushing yards. Especially if they're leading late in the game. They're going to grind out the football. Run the football and lean on the run. Especially if they're leading. If you think the Chiefs are going to win and it's going to be close, they're going to need some tough rushing yards from Isaiah Pacheco. I like the over 20.5 rushing yards. All right, some fun props here. So if the anthem is going to be under 120.5 seconds, that's plus 114. So anthem under 120.5 seconds plus 114. Another one, what's Kendrick Lamar's opening song at halftime going to be? And he's had so many hits, it's obviously tough to pick. And they say, I've never been to one of his concerts, but he changes out his opening song every one of his shows. So keeps you on your toes, which is cool. I like that. It's not predictable. Oh, he's going to open up with this song, right? He always changes it out. I don't see why he wouldn't do that either. So there's different odds and different numbers. What he's going to gamble on, what you can gamble on to be his opening song. And then this one, I love this one. This one's kind of funny. It's the Tom Brady tie color. There's a whole list. I just picked out a few here. So blue, 175, no tie. You can get that for $325. And then some long shots here. Yellow, black, green, pink, plus 1,200. I wonder if Brady has looked at these odds and says, I'm going off the board here and picking a completely different color. Red's an option. Green's an option, obviously. But, gray and silver's an option as well. But I've seen all kinds of theories. He's going to try to stay away from the gray-silver since he's a minority owner in the Raiders now. Going to stay away from red because of the Chiefs. Going to stay away from the green because that's Philly, right? So it's blue. The odds are blue, yellow, or no tie, right? I mean, is he going to bust out this bright pink tie for a Super Bowl game? Probably not. So those are coming to the running odds for Tom Brady's tie. And then what color is the Gatorade going to be? You can game on if it's going to be orange. So that's some of the fun. There's all kinds of different little other fun prop bets. There's cross prop bets with teams of like fill in what the Celtics are going to do, etc. But that's some of the prop bets that you can gamble on if you want to have some little fun, or maybe you're not a Super Bowl fan. You're just there for the party to hang out, and yeah, I'm gonna put some money on this and see what happens. So if you're doing Super Bowl squares, enjoy your Super Bowl squares. Once again, I hope you make some money on your squares. and you have a good time at your Super Bowl party. As always, you can follow me on X at Lock It Up Media. That's Lock It Up Media on X. I'm Locke Hoover. You guys lock it down sports. Have a good day.